An exposition of the Christian faith, Book 1, Chapter 13. It will be asked, in what sort was the Son begotten? As one who is forever, as the Word, as the brightness of eternal light. Hebrews 1:3. For brightness takes effect in the instant of its coming into existence. Which example is the apostles', not mine. Think not then that there was ever a moment of time when God was without wisdom, any more than that there was ever a time when light was without radiance. Judge not, Arian, divine things by human, but believe the divine where you find not the human. The heathen king saw in the fire, together with 3 Hebrew children, the form of a fourth, like as of an angel. Daniel 3:25. And because he thought that this angel excelled all angels, he judged him to be the Son of God, whom he had not read of, but in whom he believed. Abraham also saw 3 and adored one. Genesis 18, verse 1 through 3. Peter, when he saw Moses and Elias on the mountain with the Son of God, was not deceived as to their nature and glory. For he inquired not of them, but of Christ, what he ought to do, inasmuch as though he prepared to do homage to all 3, yet he waited for the command of one. But since he ignorantly thought that for 3 persons 3 tabernacles should be set up, he was corrected by the sovereign voice of God the Father, saying, quote, "This is my dearly beloved Son, hear him." End quote. Matthew 17:5. That is to say, why do you join your fellow servants in equality with your Lord? This is my son. Not Moses is my son, nor Elias is my son, but this is my son. The apostle was not dull to understand the rebuke. He fell on his face, brought low by the Father's voice and the glorious beauty of the Son, but he was raised up by the Son, whose wont it is to raise up them that are fallen. Matthew 17, verse 6 through 8. Then he saw one only. Matthew 17, verse 8. The Son of God alone, for the servants had withdrawn, that he might be seen to be Lord alone, who alone was entitled Son. What then was the purpose of that vision which signified not that Christ and his servants were equal, but betokened the mystery, save that it should be made plain to us that the law and the prophets, in agreement with the gospel, revealed as eternal the Son of God, whom they had heralded. When we, therefore, hear of the Son coming forth of the womb, the Word from the heart, let us believe that the Son was not fashioned with hands, but begotten of the Father, not the work of a craftsman, but the offspring of a parent. He therefore who said, "This is my Son," said not, "This is a creature of time," nor, "This being is of my creation, my making, my servant," but, "This is my Son, whom you see glorified." This is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, who appeared to Moses in the bush in Exodus 3:14, concerning whom Moses says, "He who is has sent me." It was not the Father who spoke to Moses in the bush or in the desert, but the Son. It was of this Moses that Stephen said, "This is he who was in the church in the wilderness with the angel." Acts 7 verse 38. This then is he who gave the law, who spoke with Moses saying, "I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." This then is the God of the patriarchs. This is the God of the prophets. It is the Son, therefore, that we read, "Your mind understands the reading, let your tongue make the confession." Away with arguments, where faith is required. Now let the dialectic hold her peace, even in the midst of her schools. I ask not what is that philosophers say, but I would know what they do. They sit desolate in their schools. See the victory of faith over argument. They who dispute subtly are forsaken daily by their fellows. They who with simplicity believe are daily increased. Not philosophers, but fishermen. Not masters of dialectic, but tax gatherers. Now find credence. The one sort, through pleasures and luxuries, have bound the world's burden upon themselves. The other, by fasting and mortification, have cast it off, and so does sorrow now begin to win over more followers than pleasure. Let us now see how far Arians and pagans do differ. The latter call upon gods, who are different in sex and unequal in power. The former affirm a trinity, where there is likewise inequality of power and diversity of Godhead. The pagans assert that their gods begin to exist once upon a time. The Arians lyingly declare that Christ began to exist in the course of time. Have they not all died their impiety in the vats of philosophy? But indeed the pagans do extol that which they worship. The Arians maintain that the Son of God, who is God, is a creature.